Hi, my dear Astro family. So today we are going to be looking at the Mercury Cazimi, which has got quite an exact square to Uranus. So this is the aspect of the week. And of course, as usual, I will be breaking this down for the 12 signs as well if you are a paid YouTube member. It is taking place on the 18th of August. And basically, a Cazimi is when the Sun and the Mercury are only a few minutes away from each other. To be precise, it is within 17 minutes. So we are having a very exact conjunction. You should not be mixing up the minutes with the degrees. Okay, so those are the little numbers next to the bigger number when you are looking at those differences. Now, it is something that is considered to be super lucky, and it is going to be happening in the sign of Leo. And whenever there is a Mercury Cazimi, it is more about a divine insight. Also, Mercury Cazimi indicates that we are halfway of the Mercury retrograde that started in the sign of Virgo, by the way, on 4 degrees. But I have made a video about Mercury retrograde and what we might be expecting. So today I'm going to be focusing a little bit more on that Mercury square to Uranus. By the way, according to traditional astrology, Kazimi is more powerful when one planet is in dignity. And now, of course, the sun is in rulership. So this is a lot more potent rather than when it happens in a different sign. So this is a divine aspiration. Kazimi is like when the gods whisper something into your ears, giving you an insight. It's a little bit of an intuitive hit somehow. And imagine situations that you are walking on the streets and then you see certain type of patterns. And maybe you see those patterns multiple times, and there is a message behind it. And then it is supposed to make you think about what it might mean. Or it could indicate that you receive a message and you need to be reading between the lines because there is something meaningful behind that message. Now, this is going to be happening, as I said, on 26 degrees of a Leo on the 18th of August. And by the way, Mercury Cazimi happens quite a few times a year. So it's also worth having a look at what was going down with the previous Cazimi period as well. But I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. Now, why it is interesting and the reason why I picked this as the aspect of the week is because it has got that super tight square to Uranus in the sign of Taurus. Now, Mercury is retrograde, so we are meant to be revisiting something. And maybe we are meant to be revisiting how much fun we have, how free you feel, whether you feel that your freedom is somehow blocked out or not. You are meant to be expressing yourself, or why is it challenging for you to show your true identity to others, or what type of risks you take in life. And maybe you need to be walking away, freeing yourself up, Uranus, from any of the risky situations in your life. Or if you are more of a cautious person, then it actually prompts you to take risks in life as well. You might want to be asking yourself the question, what makes your heart sing? What is your heart desire? Overall, what makes you happy? And sometimes with Uranus, we tend to be rejecting something. So we might be rejecting happiness in our life. And if you do that, then how can you bring that happiness back? That would be one of the major questions. Now, when you are looking at this Mercury a little bit closer, Mercury is actually the ruler of Venus as well as Jupiter and Mars at the same time, because those are the planets that are in Mercury and ruled signs. So, and when you think about how much we have spoken about the Jupiter-Mars conjunction squaring Saturn, and at the same time, of course, we've got the Venus and Saturn opposition going on as well. So we've got this T-square going on. This Mercury halfway period is extremely important. With Venus in Virgo, we need to, for example, look at whether we do love what we do. This could talk to you about with Mercury being in the sign of Leo that, you are getting a little bit fed up of doing household chores, for example, or in a way you want to be just concentrating a little bit more on the fun elements of life as well. What do I have time for? And with Uranus there, this could really talk to you about breaking away from a pattern that you have been doing or following for a while. Also, this could talk to you about being ashamed of who you are. Uranus is the planet of shame. And this shame might be coming from certain type of conditioning, parental conditioning, for example, because Leo is the inner child within us, so it can represent the childhood experiences as well. So even there is an element of a healing involved with this aspect. And maybe all those conditioning that you had experienced previously are the ones that are holding you back from following your own path. Because the sun is the ultimate destination, the final destination of your life. You need to become that sun sign at one point in your life. Now, when you look at this chart closely, you can also see that Vesta is there too. And Vesta is the asteroid of focus, is the spiritual mission. So it is telling us that we are meant to be focusing on the path that we want to be on. We need to be a little bit more egotistical. We need to put our needs first, or we need to put our wants first. Also, I think there is a little bit of an honesty coming with this aspect as well. Being honest with yourself to get to know what you are meant to be releasing from your life, or even say no to. I mean, if you just think about that, Vesta had to give up 30 years of their lives from the age of 10 to 40 just to be in service to someone. And then after, they had pretty much the right to live their life, but they might have felt it was too late, and there was an element of a giving up with that too. So this aspect could be actually also an indication that you might feel that you don't have any more opportunity, for example, because I'm too old or I wouldn't be fitting in and so on. And it feels like with Mercury being the dispositor of Jupiter and Mars in the sign of Gemini, that it's never too late to have an idea that you might want to be pursuing. Also, Uranus is extremely important nowadays because Uranus is the apex of the full moon T-square as well. So it is playing a very significant role, and Uranus is the planet of change. So something needs to be changing in our lives. Maybe it's the thought process, how we think about ourselves, how we think about the world leaders. It could indicate that you are going to be receiving quite an unexpected message, for example. It might be a message that you don't take too well at the beginning, as Uranus is the planet of rebellion. So often we kind of want to reject that piece of information that is right in front of us. It could be a shocking news. Maybe it could be in the entertainment industry because Leo represents celebrities, world leaders. It also represents leadership as well. Maybe we are also with Mercury, it's the planet of gossip as well. So a shocking gossip might be coming on the forefront, being on the headlines, because with Leo energy, it's something that is extremely visible. Also, maybe we will hear loads of stars opening up about their own opinion, about their own lives, or even about their own issues. Now, one of the things that I told you about at the beginning that it's always worth looking at with this Mercury, Cazimi period when it pretty much seeded. Because often it can feel like with Mercury retrograde, I mean, it's a cycle to start with. And when the Mercury retrograde is kind of like the beginning of the cycle with the sun, so it could feel like a new moon energy. And this is the new moon energy would be more to do with planting the seeds. And so we might want to be looking back the initial Mercury and Sun cycle, which, by the way, started for you around, let me just quickly check that. So give me 2 seconds. Something at the beginning of July. To be exact, it happened from July the 6th. And Mercury already conjuncted Vesta there, for example, and that happened on July 21st. And Mercury already had that square to Uranus as well around that time. So maybe that's, so let's put it this way, between July the 6th to July 21st, maybe already certain things went down in the entertainment industry in regards to your self-expression and even business opportunities and so forth. So you are meant to be revisiting those type of topics. Also, this could be talking to you about certain type of sudden developments in your career as well. Because as I said, with Leo, this is something to do with leadership, self-employment, coming to terms with your own path. So therefore, there is a sudden opportunity within this aspect as well. But maybe that Mercury retrograde hesitates a little bit. Now, Uranus is the planet of change. And sometimes with Uranus, we tend to call this planet as expect the unexpected. So you never know what's going to come out with it. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples here, but it is a whirlwind type of planet. It tends to be shaking things up. So imagine that, for example, you receive a text message that you were not meant to be receiving, and then it reveals something to you. And maybe it is because of certain type of lack of focus by having vested it as well. We forgot to focus on something, right? Or maybe we reveal some type of information that we were not meant to. With Mercury, it's very easy to gossip as well. It's the letting the cat out of the bag situation. Or Uranus is also the higher octave of Mercury as well. So this aspect feels like a divine insight, a divine knowledge that others not meant to know, but you meant to be knowing about this. By the way, this is extremely potent for you if you've got any planet, I would say, between 25 to 28 degree of the fixed signs. So those are Leo, Aquarius, Taurus, and Scorpio. Mercury is also the planet of solutions. So with Uranus, we are finding a sudden solution to a issue. And maybe this is connected to your love life, to your finances, because Venus is in the sign of Virgo. Um, it's kind of like when you are putting the puzzle together that we have been working on for a long time, and then eventually that final piece fits in. The higher octave with the Uranus is also interesting because Mercury is more about gathering the facts and the data, while Uranus is more to do with intuitive knowledge. So often, how it feels like it with this aspect is that we might not believe what we see because in normal circumstances, it should not be happening. Even we can be asking the question, why does it happen to me? We might not even see it because the sun is so bright. We are in the middle of the summer season, right? So sometimes this is the representation of kind of like having a veil on our face. And this is also confirmed that this Cazimi actually has got a quincunx aspect to Neptune. So you might not be able to see your own worth. You might not be able to see your own talents. You might not be able to see actually people around you in their best shape or in their worst shape as well. I feel like with that Vesta, we need to be able to focus extremely hard to see what is right in front of us, or not necessarily believing when something is so shiny. Because, what comes to my mind, there is this guy on TikTok who is actually roaming the streets and then asking people how much their necklace is worth and so forth. And then he does a diamond test on them, and then it turns out to be fake. And that's exactly kind of like sorry about that, my alarm went off. And I have been up for 1.5 hours. I wanted to get up a little bit later, but I did wake up quite early. So, and then he does this diamond test, and then they turn out to be fake. Now, I don't know how much, obviously, these videos are arranged and so forth, but it's pretty much reminding me of this combination as well, that we see something that is shiny and beautiful, but actually the question is it actually real? In the world, this could talk to us about such situations, an electricity outage, for example. It could talk to us about internet issues, computers and mobiles going down. Maybe a major application might be down that you cannot be using, and of course, it's making you anxious. And with Uranus being in a sign of Taurus, it could be a banking application, for example. So with Uranus in Taurus, Taurus is quite resistant, and Uranus is trying to bring the change. So maybe with Vesta being also in the picture, we are too focused on the material stuff. And therefore, it is very difficult to see all the goods, all the God-given gifts, even in troubled situations as well. Maybe you don't see your own talents. Maybe you don't see your own life properly. You don't see what your children are doing, for example. You don't see what leaders are doing to us. Also, Uranus reminds us that you meant to be planning with that Mercury combo, you are meant to be planning something, and it will not work out, unfortunately, the way you want it, because Uranus is the planet of disruption. So therefore, this might be telling you to have a plan B and a C and a D too, as well at the same time. Vesta might be too focused on the plan, on the mission, and then an unexpected event can happen at any time. So Uranus is the planet of disruption, and Mercury is also the about routines. So it's kind of like having to juggle between tasks while you are trying to have fun, for example. Maybe your mind is somewhere else. Imagine a situation that you are on holiday, for example, and then you keep getting phone calls from work. Or can you just do this briefly and so forth? I'm on a fitness retreat, and there is this guy here, and I mean, he's been here for a few weeks now, I believe. And then he's meant to be staying for another 6 weeks. And I haven't seen him since last Saturday, so for a week. It might be an excuse. I don't know. I don't want to make any call on that. But he was saying last week that work keeps bugging him, even though he's on an annual leave, he's on sabbatical for 10 weeks, and then he decided to take his life back by trying to lose weight and to get fitter, to be healthier, basically. And then I haven't seen him for a week because apparently they are bombarding him with loads of work. And that's exactly this Uranus Mercury combination. Actually, he's been here at this weight loss camp for a while. Maybe actually, it started somewhere at the end of July. So as I said, it's something that we are meant to be revisiting between July the 6th till 29th. Um, Also, this could indicate that you are feeling anxious about expressing yourself, your true identity. Leo is also the representation of confidence as well. So maybe you need to be seeing what hinders you from seeing the real you, what is actually kind of destroying your confidence level. Why are you rejecting to enjoy life? Um, and with Vesta being in the mix, it surely is something that is, your spiritual mission. We can call it as kind of like receiving a spiritual awakening. On top of that, this could talk to you about creative solutions to make money. It's kind of like downloading information through the skies. With Uranus, we meant to be upgrading something. So upgrading your communication skill, upgrading your writing skill, upgrading the ability to form and give birth to a creative product, making changes about certain type of product that you have already created. It's kind of like being able to pass a new Candy Crush level that you have been trying to do so for a while, and then all of a sudden you got it. So Mercury is extremely important in this chart, as I mentioned before. Of course, the disposition of Jupiter, Mars, and Venus, all of those are connected to the upcoming full moon as well. And we have been talking about those for a couple of weeks. I'm not going to be repeating that. But maybe with Jupiter and Mars, we are meant to be, in a way, giving birth to an idea that makes you feel alive, that is close to your heart desire. Maybe you're meant to be sharing certain type of stories with others about yourself. Um, Also, watch out because with Uranus, Mercury, it's very easy to have quite an erratic or dramatic communication style during this period as well. It can become a little bit louder, actually a lot louder. Jupiter Mars conjunction in the sign of Gemini and Mercury in Leo could really talk to us about making bold statements. We can have quite a dramatic way to approach a situation as well. You can even become a little bit more on the pushier side. You are trying to push your ideas onto other people also. Imagine that you would like to implement a new routine, for example, at work. It could actually talk to you about drama at your workplace as well, or even drama with siblings and neighbors. And it can lead to a kind of like an argument with them as well, where no one really wants to um, kind of give up in a way. Everyone is just repeating their own truth. With Kazimi, as mentioned before, it means that it's very close to the sun, and the sun always illuminates. So it's illuminating our thoughts and ideas. It is meant to be giving you mental clarity over something. And maybe you are working on to get that mental clarity, whether I don't know, maybe, oh, is he cheating on me? Right? Leo is the romantic life as well at the same time. But something keeps coming up. It gets disrupted. Maybe we are as I said, having to focus on work or having to focus on finances, for example. It's kind of like you are trying to start your own business. I'm ready to speak up, but then something comes up, so it gets swayed. This is somehow reminding me of an unconventional speech, something bold, something that might hurt actually even your pride as well. It might be quite an important conversation that we might be preparing for, but then we end up talking about something else. Maybe you want to tell off someone, but then before you even start, they're going to give you this soppy type of speech about their life struggle, and then you change your mind that you don't want to be throwing this heavy bomb on someone. This could talk to you about situations such as, because Uranus is in the sign of Taurus, and Taurus is connected to security matters. So maybe you're gonna have to actually look at your firewall a little bit better because this could indicate that someone might be trying to, break it through, in a way, steal information. Mercury is the petty theft, and Uranus is actually the criminal mind, in a way. So we might also see a attempt to break into a bank, for example. Or it could talk to you about you wanting to reset your password, and then it doesn't work, or you forget actually the password, or you have got this travel plan that is getting somehow disrupted. So even it could bring in certain type of flight delays, or the car breaks down in the middle of the road, um, or you are trying to travel somewhere and then there is this strike going on. Now, I also looked at what asteroids are involved, and California asteroid is right on this Mercury, Vesta, and Sun conjunction as well. Also, we've got Hungary asteroid there. So it's very possible that those two places are going to be quite emphasized coming up. I can imagine kind of like quite a big meteor shower, for example, because Uranus represents the sky. So I can imagine that it's kind of like something that is falling down from the sky. This is a quite interesting combination. And even though Mercury Cazimi happens quite often, at least 6 times a year, but it doesn't make quite a tight square to Uranus every single day. So this is the reason why I wanted to pick this aspect, because I feel like this might be shaking things up a little bit. Of course, I would be able to talk about this quite a lot because and I'm going to talk a little bit more about this, because also when you look at this, we've got actually a yacht configuration going on as well at the same time between Mercury, Sun, Vesta, Neptune. I mean, it is pretty much of the start of it, and um, and you know, Vesta being Vesta and Mercury and the Sun being at the tip of this yacht. Uh, And with Vesta, it's about a service to a higher cause. It's about being selfless as well. Now, this configuration pretty much lasts until the 2nd of September, by the way. And at the same time, by the way, Mercury is making a quintile to Jupiter as well. A quintile is a 72-degree aspect, by the way. And well, the quintile aspect got exact on the 16th of August, but quintile is quite magical, and both of the planets are connected to studies in a way, but definitely it's increasing your mental power. So again, this is just telling me that there is this divine message that is coming to you. And then even the sun is walking into this yacht configuration as well. And again, this is just with Pluto and the sun, it's about the recognition of your own power. Um, and with Neptune, it's very much about becoming somehow a spiritual leader. So we've got loads of good things going on, right? This time around. And also very interesting that Sun and Mercury obviously conjoin the Uranus with a square, and basically four aspects are forming within a day. So we've got the Sun Mercury in Leo, and then it's squaring Uranus, and then we have got also the Uranus Vesta square happening as well at the same time. So the very first aspect is the Mercury square Uranus, and then less than a couple of hours later, Uranus is actually squaring Vesta. And then a couple of hours after, we've got the Sun Mercury conjunction. And then finally, a day later, we've got the Sun square Uranus as well at the same time. So four major aspects all are pointing towards Uranus. So it really feels like that this is going to be quite an important uh, day. So, guys, this is the aspect of the week. I hope it helps, and I will see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.